This is the end, beautiful friend. This is the end, my only friend. The end of our elaborate plans. The end of everything that stands. The end, no safety or surprise. The end, I'll never look into your eyes again. Can you picture what will be so limitless and free, desperately in need of some stranger's hand in a desperate land?
It was actually burned entirely. It was a little goat. That's a crazy story. When? Give me 1 second. I'll see if I can find it. But I was there, and it was in September 2019. Okay, so if you write us a note, I can send you the link to the, and he created, I mean, I got so much grief from Christian organizations.
הרב ישי, אתה יש לך קול כמו של חזן, ואתה גם מייצג יפה מאוד את המדינה. בוא תגיד תפילה לשלום המדינה. בוא נו, יש לך קק יגיד תפילה לשלום, נותן תפילה לשלום המלכים, ויש לנו שלום רבי נחמן.
This is Malki, my sweetest new friend, an amazing man. And if you think that this is brutal and bloody, believe me, there's not a single ounce of brutal or bloodiness in this man. He is entirely holy, and he is going to bring the holiest sacrifice for the 70 nations to renew their covenant with God, to reconnect the non-Jews who have been slowly disconnecting from God, and to reconnect all the non-Jews in the world to God. And then, hopefully, God willing, the Jews will be able to follow and take our place. The most amazingly sweet man. I just bumped into this morning. I feel like I've known him forever.
We're missing brothers.
Missing brothers. Gotta remember that these are big things, and it's religion, but it's personal. And this guy's going to come visit me in my home and meet my children. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding.
בשם בני נוח, לעשות נחת רוח להשם יתברך, קשט את השכינה, לקרב את הגאולה, לעלות מים נוקבים ולהוריד מים דחוקים, ולהמשיך שפע לשכינה. לכל הקדושים, שנאמר לכל הכללים, כל מגיע ולכל רפאי לכל בית ישראל, במהרה ובזמן תמיד, יאמרו אמן. ושווה נודע מבורך, לעלם ולעלמם היה, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתאמר ויתנשא ויתנגע ויתעלה ויתפלל שווה לקודשו ברוחו. אלא מן כל ברכתה ושמתה, ברכתה ונחמתה.
How do they like it? I saw the light on.
Before a week ago on Friday I wrote the principles of the international law according to the Bible, and then I came to the First World War, which was between the 4 kings and the 5 kings of Elam, of Persia and so on, and Sodom. And then after Abraham saved his Lot and so on, came Melchizedek, was the king of Jerusalem, and he made the first treaty of peace between Sodom and Abraham Avinu and so on. And this was the first judgment, not to take rewards, but to take the expenses of the war from the king of Sodom that Abraham has to pay for his battalion. Okay, on Monday someone called me. I speak with him only once in life, and he told me that here in Jerusalem was the size of the altar which is shown in the picture, the matzeva, was the same as this, about no more than 4-5 about 40 centimeters, 3 centimeters, which is called tombstone, matzeva, even matzeva. It's not a building of altar by many stones, but it's some soft stone that cracks very easy, and this was the show all the channels of the blood, how they took the skin from the body of the lamb or the kid and so on. It's not imagination. So everyone is invited, first of all, to this lecture and to follow up the story, and you will see that we are not working for imaginations, and are finding all kinds of
This is a very special time for prayer, to pray while the sacrifice is burning. And yeah, it's a very unusual thing to have a sacrifice. It's not something Jews have done in recent memory. But everyone here said, it's like you can't go through something like this and be apathetic. Everyone walked out of this ceremony totally transformed. And totally intent on serving God to the best of their ability. And yeah.
Listen, and there were some miracles that took place. It was just my family, but it was amazing. And we got to know this lamb, and the lamb after the slaughter. I knew I had to burn everything by morning, and I knew it wasn't. Anyway, long story short, there was hardly any fire at all, and everything was burned up. It burned for 3 days and 3 nights, and even all the bones were burned up. Nothing was left, and the only thing was left was what my son wanted, was the left horn. And then I found out later it was kind of it was a priestly blessing to leave the left horn, but even the bone inside of it was gone.
This is the first time you did it?
This is the first time I did it. I think it was 2014.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyway, and it was like a preparation. It was just listening and doing, and I kept saying, I can't do this. It's an innocent animal. And he's like, but you're willing to eat the meat. And I said, yeah. I said, so you're not willing to kill it? And I said, okay. So I did. I followed through, and it's been I thought it was, okay, I'm over with this. It's like, no, next year it was again. But every year, this is what I've noticed, this is what I've seen. The Spirit literally enters the lamb, and he becomes a covering. And that's what he said, it was a lamb back then. Everyone back in Passover in Egypt, his blood was covering all. He is in everything. I don't like to kill flies. The other day I was trying to take a scorpion out. He said, I don't like to kill things. But he's asked me to do it, and he actually asked me to do this today. And I knew before I even came here that I was going to be doing it. I knew before I even came to Jerusalem. But I said, you're going to have to provide the lamb, you're going to have to provide everything. And it happened.
Who is he in this?
He is, I get that asked a lot. I have a tough time calling him Hashem. I tried calling him. As a matter of fact, he told me to go to the rabbi and tell him to have his kids.
Abba. You said Abba.
Abba, yes. And so
I like Abba.
That is a safe thing because it's true.
It is true.
It's his children. And he's a father, and he's a good father, and he knows, and he disciplines us because he loves us. I have this disease because he's disciplined me because my genetics were lawless, And now coming back home, we're getting healed. We're coming into his truth, and he's bringing us home one by one. We're lost. We were lost in the nations. I thought I was 100% Greek. Then I find out I had Cohen blood. And I was already being told it, but I thought I was crazy, and I've come to find out. I'm not so crazy. I mean,
And the nations are lost.
What's that?
And the nations are lost.
The nations are lost, of course, but because we failed in a lot of ways, but it was all part of the plan. It was all part of the plan so that we would know loss, so that we can come back together in a better way. And now the great thing is he's bringing both kingdoms back together.
Amen.
He's bringing Ephraim back with Yehuda, and that's the marriage.
Amen.
10 of us to one of you.
And we got
10
it.
to one of you.
And I'm trying to get my people to open up the door.
Please, 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 because I tell you what, that's what hurts him the most.
It hurts me. It hurts me too.
Because he's bringing his children home, and they're being denied. They're being pushed away, and it's not his way. He's literally guiding us home. My voice, he's talking to us. I'm not crazy.
No.
I mean, this has been going on for years. He knows. I mean, this has been going on for years.
Malki,
I'm not crazy.
if someone hears a knocking at the door and they look out and they see you, how could they keep the door closed?
A lot of them do. Don't trust me.
Sweetest man I ever met.
Just a few days before Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, and while heads of state are meeting at the UN General Assembly, a unique procession linked to the events takes place in Jerusalem. A group of people from different parts of the world gathered for a ritual sacrifice as part of the so-called 70 Nations Initiative, which aims to establish an alternative body to the UN based on biblical law and located on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem.
This meeting today is to give relevance, it's important that the other nations who need the physicality, that they are going to get their physicality. We're going to build the physical temple, and the Jewish people are going to go up to a higher level of spirituality.
I think it's about the Creator, about a wedding that he planned since creation itself. A plan to where he scattered his people, and so at the end they could come back together.
Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai.
This is an ancient procession which used to take place in the biblical Jewish temple. But according to one of the founders of the initiative, Professor Hillel Weiss, Jews are not allowed to sacrifice outside the temple. So the procession is done by non-Jews.
The non-Jews serve the Jews not in the cheap way. On the contrary, the non-Jews show the Jews how to worship God. The Jews want to have a legitimacy to do it. And so the non-Jews say, you have the legitimacy, you can do it.
Last year, Professor Weiss and his colleagues launched this initiative with a special event in Jerusalem called the Creation Concert. This year, dozens of representatives took part in the first convention of 70 nations. And though the idea to replace the UN with a religious body may sound far-fetched, it attracts participants to this convention.
The establishment of the 17 nations is rooted in that promise that God gave to Abraham, that he would be a blessing to all nations of the world. And whosoever bless Abraham, they shall be blessed. And so we are seeking a platform to be a blessing to nations.
I have nothing to say but to say thank you for Cameroon and Africa to be part at this end-time covenant.
Animal rights organizations may oppose this procession, but some bystanders pay attention to the unique gathering.
It was exciting. I hope the Jews can do it in the near future, not far from here.
It's very sad, but I think it's their tradition, so we have to... I just kind of understand.
The convention continued through the end of the week with a number of sessions and meetings, perhaps a new beginning for an ancient tradition.
Ride the snake, ride the snake to the lake, the ancient lake, baby. The snake